share our insights and expertise. She is a senior special assistant to the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on community engagement for the North Central region. Thank you so much for joining us, Madam.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Honorable Abiodun Eshet is a Mandela Washington Fellow 2021. She is also the UN Women Beijing Plus 25 champion, a recipient of UNDP Young Leaders Award. She is also a gender activist and development expert. She is passionate about achieving the implementation of the SDG goals 4.5, 6, 16, and 17, and identifying development gaps in society and ways of bridging the gaps in promoting public service efficiency. Honorable Abiodun Eshet is interested in local government accountability, youth development, and women empowerment with a focus on community leadership by women, research, open governance, and democracy. So you can see that my guest is properly fitted for this discussion today. Meanwhile, you can join us on live stream on YouTube on Citizen FM 93.7. You can also just type in Insight and you will be part of the show from anywhere you are in the world. You can also listen to us online on www.citizen.ng. And don't forget that you can follow us on our social media platforms, 3 of them on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, and also on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and don't forget on X at Citizen FM 937. And during the half-hour break on this show, you can also give us a call, and I will announce the numbers later. So once again, Honorable Abiodun Eshet, it's a pleasure to have you on Insight.
Thank you.
All right, let's start this way. Community engagement, that's your core responsibility in helping the president do this. How has the challenge been in the last 1 year or thereabouts since you assumed this office officially?
Okay, thank you very much for that. So will I really say it's a challenge? But North Central is a region that is full of different tribes and multi-ethnicity, and that would say the diversity can sometimes be the challenge in terms of communicating to people, and in terms of how people want to contest with limited resources. So you have some states whereby you have a majority ethnic groups and other minority ethnic groups are not finding their voices in those regions. So our work is to see how we embrace those minority, and for the people in leadership to also embrace the concern of those marginalized groups in the decision-making platform. So sometimes the diversity are not being managed, and it could be a challenge if leaders are not really considering the voices of the lower minority groups in decision-making platforms. So, North Central is a beautiful place, and, if we can all be embraced, if the diversity can be embraced positively, that could be seen. And also for the fact that, some of the statistics of issues going on now, North Central is now having a whole lot of IDP camps that, other agencies that are meant to cater for humanitarian services are not seeing it the way it should. So, and it's our role as presidential aides to make an agency understand that we have some internally displaced person that needs humanitarian services and also support from other agencies.
Okay, your role now has led you to make physical, direct contact with Nigerians across the North Central. What are some of the lessons that you've learned so far?
Okay, thank you so much. One major lesson we've learned meeting with people is giving people voices, giving people platform can actually change the narrative on how you see things. So, I engaged if I was on the road throughout my tour. I had a listening tour across the North Central region, where we had a physical town hall meeting with people that are not usually called to the table to discuss issues. We pick people from the lower ranking society, in the lower ranking platform of different society, to come and speak and share their concern to the people. And what I found out is that, most of a Nigerian problem can be solved while engaging in deliberate dialogue with the people concerned. And that's a big lesson to us. And I'm working on a paper on the role of community engagement in policy making and decision making, which is really key, and which, Mr. President has really signed up to by creating a special advice assistance on community engagement, which shows that the federal government is taking in that direction, in embracing community engagement in everything the federal government does.
Okay, I also know that as part of the president's commitment to improving governance and ensuring effective service delivery, your office initiated the Citizens Assembly for the North Central region. What's the update on this?
Okay, so for the Citizens Assembly, we created this because we believe that Nigeria haven't celebrated democracy for 25 years. There's this core aspect of democracy which is beyond voting. So citizens should be able to be part of governance process even after casting their vote. And, there's this vacuum of engagement every 4 years. Once they go to the ballots and cast their vote, citizens will just sit down and watch. But we created the Citizen Assembly based on a baseline survey that we did. So on resuming office, I actually did a survey on the perception of citizens towards community engagement. And, from the survey actually highlighted a huge gap in terms of engagement. Some citizens say they don't see any federal government representative or any government representative, within 4 years. It's only when doing election that they see that. So we wanted to change the narrative of the perceptions that people have, because engaging people can actually bring trust in government, and there was this issue of lack of trust. Most citizens said they didn't trust the government, maybe through the politicians that have been coming to them saying we are going to do this in our manifesto, and once they get into office, they're not doing that. So we wanted to also, rebuild that trust gap and making sure that the citizens are at the center stage of governance, and that's why we created the Citizens Assembly. So the Citizens Assembly is a group of youths and adults who are community champions across the North Central region, who said they wanted voluntarily to be part of this movement in being a representative of their community, first in documenting the issues that happen in their community to the federal government through my office, and also following up and also educating the community about what the federal government is doing in another way to build trust. So we have on online platform, we have over 600 of our volunteers across the North Central region, and each of those volunteers have a network, a social capital of over 20 community leaders, religious leaders, youth leaders within their networks that they can engage once they have any information from federal government. And this is also the network we use when we want to educate the citizens about federal government provisions and programs. So for instance, we're going to a community in North Central region. We reach out to the volunteers of the Citizen Assembly, who also coordinates and reach out to their chiefs and also religious leaders to get them on board on what we are doing. So it's a movement of youth who are interested in not just sitting back and waiting for government to engage, but taking a decision on their own and engaging government deliberately, sending reports to us with phone numbers, detailed picture evidence of issues going on in their communities that need federal government intervention. And in turn, my office document those reports, send it to members of federal executive councils and also federal agency for them to act on it with immediate effect. So that's been beauty of community engagement and the Citizens Assembly we created. So recently, yesterday, the Ministry of Water Resources just left one of our community, which we inspected during our town hall meeting, which is the Boko Primary School. We had our Citizens Assembly in that primary school, and we noticed they're having challenges. There's no toilet, there's no water facility, and the ministry took it upon based on our report. Now they've sent contractors to sites in in that primary school, to make sure that they build, a toilet and also water supply for them in that region, because the ministry has the mandate on ending open defecation in Nigeria by this year 2025. So they felt that was part of their mandate to make sure that our school has enough wash facilities, and are also working towards ending open defecation in Nigeria. So that is an example of how the City Assembly has been helping in promoting governance and also development in our communities.
All right, if you're just joining us, it's Insights on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Our guest is Honorable Abiodun Eshet, Senior Special Assistant to the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on community engagement for the North Central region. Honorable Eshet, I'm glad that you just revealed this about your engagement with other ministries, departments. So that means there is a synergy between your office and others.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So, for instance, we've had so many, interaction with federal ministers. For instance, the Minister of Works actually requested for a documentation report of the status of federal roads in our region, which was submitted to him, and he also worked on it, addressing it to FEMA to also work on seeing how those issues can be addressed. So we work with ministries like that because we are the closest to the grassroots, and anything that has to do with federal government intervention, we are the first line of action to understand what exactly is going on and relate those issues with members of Federal Executive Council so that they know what is happening in our region and they take, steps in addressing those issues. So we've done quite a whole lot. There was a time the youth, there was this application for Nigerian Youth Investment Fund that was released, and, we got the report from our youths that, if they don't have a CSC certificate, they can proceed with the application. And when we have a whole number of youths who are still struggling to get their CSC certificate, they have legit businesses, but they're still struggling to get the CSC certificate. So our office worked up to the CSC registrar and make sure that some of our youths are also able to register their businesses for them to be able to apply for federal government intervention. So we get feedback on federal government initiative and also work with those ministries to address the feedbacks we're getting from anything that has to do with federal government initiatives.
All right, talking about engagement, the sad explosion in Diko community comes to mind, and this from reports, people trying to scoop fuel. This is not the first time. It's always been there over and over again. Enlightenment, education comes to the fore again.
Yeah.
What do we do about this?
So, thanks for bringing that up. So, I also made a post and also reached out to the community. We'll be working with the National Orientation Agency to see how we sensitize our people about the danger, environmental danger, and severe risks of scooping foil from a falling tank. Actually, the same incident happened in the central of Plateau 2 weeks ago, and the military officers were able to manage that because they understood the risks. They actually created a ban across where the falling tanker was, and they prevented people from scooping. So if that could have been done in Niger State, we wouldn't have had a severe, casualty the way we did. But, it's for us, our people, to be sensitized in local languages on the implication of scooping foil and the danger of scooping foil for falling tanker, because you don't know what might happen. It could explode, it could spread, and all that. So we're working with the National Orientation Agency to see how we can sensitize more of our people on the dangers of scooping foil from a falling tanker. So it's more of sensitization. Sensitization is not enough. You can't say you want to stop it, because what everybody must know, it must be on their faces, through the traditional media, everywhere. People should know the danger and communicate it accordingly.
All right, it's still Insight on Citizen 93.7 FM. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we will look at some other issues as we continue our discussion.
Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this
is your station.
Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM. Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. There's still Insight on Citizen 93.7 FM. And our guest today is Honorable Abiodun Eshet, Senior Special Assistant to the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on community engagement for the North Central region. And we've been talking about some of the engagements that our office has in the last couple of months, and she's been able to bring us up to speed. But Honorable, let's move on to some other issues, because I know that before you were given this responsibility by Mr. President, you were already known in the areas of women issues, gender matters, youth development, and leadership issues, especially with the youth. Now, let's start with the women issues. I know that in the course of your interaction and engagement with the people at the local level, especially young women, young girls, how do you encourage them to take part in governance? What are those things that you tell them if they are interested in accessing leadership positions?
Thank you very much. So I'm using my office and my position to also use it as being a role model for the young people. People working in the North Central region is in the north. There's a perception about you occupying a position, big position like this, and it's given to a woman. So that's the first line of changing people's perception about women's leadership position, so that they know that women can actually be trusted with leadership positions like this once